Hey guys, we are live. It is the Pony Pundits Friday, August 28th. And yes, I'm happy we're live. I remembered to hit the go live button. I'll go ahead and bust my own stones because I'm not going to let these other two guys have the fun of doing that. Let's bring them in. You know him. He is SIG. You can follow SIG on Twitter at SIG Las Vegas. SIG, how you doing today?
Marco, I'm doing fine. Great to be here and great to be live.
Yes, it is great to be live. And kind of sad today, we've got our good friend, Jeff Zidek. You can follow him on Twitter at Meadows _TV. He is the track announcer for the Meadows. And unfortunately, we won't be able to have you on our Friday Pony Pundit show because starting next week, you guys go back to your fall schedule, which the Meadows will be racing live on Friday at the time the Pony Pundits are up. Does the Meadows not know the power of the Pony Pundits to go against us?
I know the competition is unbelievable. I can't believe we're going to do that, but yes, we will be racing live. I got to figure out a way we can maybe do a live check-in from the announcer's booth one of these weeks.
Yeah, that would be cool for a little behind-the-scenes look at it, and I'm sure there'll be a big bottle of Mountain Dew there on your desk while you're calling the races. I know that's your drink of choice, and I know from a fellow kidney stone guy that's not the drink of choice for that your doctor would want you having. And it's amazing. The three of us, if you added it up, it's a lot of kidney stones between this panel here, and they are quite painful. Even more painful than running first and third on your exacta, let me tell you that. All right, guys, this week's show, we're going to do a little sneak peek at the Kentucky Derby, which is next week. We wanted to get run through the field. Things are shaping up. We've got the horses that have given the green light that they're going. We've had a few horses that have points to go but are not going to go. And so we'll get, just a thought or two from each of you guys as we run through. That'll be our news and notes section for this week. Instead of looking at the entire racing world this week, with the Derby coming up, guys, that's all we're going to be talking about, for the next 2 weeks. We will have our race of the day from Saratoga. That is race 8 on the card Saturday. And of course, a pick 4 for you guys. But Sig, let's get it started with the Derby. Let's just go through the field with the point leaders, which is definitely going to put us at the cream of the crop at the top. And that is Tiz the Law.
Marco, Tiz the Law, deserving favorite. I'm not going to be able to bet him. He's going to be even money next Saturday.
He might be less than even money next Saturday. This is a horse, and Jeff, this is something, you being in the horse business as long as I have, you know that when a horse has a campaign as long as Tiz the Law has had. Remember, this is a horse that was on the Derby trail when the Derby was supposed to be raced the first Saturday in May. So he's making his, normal, 3-year-old debut, the prep races, and then we find out we're not having the Derby because of all of the closures, the pandemic and everything, till September. To keep a horse going this good, this long, is tough. Usually at this point of the year, you would see horses, they would lose a little bit of weight. They might not be eating quite as good. Something I don't understand that concept, but they start to tail off. From everything you've heard from the connections with this horse and people that have seen the horse on the track, he is putting more weight on. He's sharper in the mornings. He tears, the bottom out of the feed bucket. This is something you don't see. He is a freak of nature right now.
Yeah, he's just the horse to beat. He's the best right now. His speed figures are something that nobody else is even coming close to. And it's almost to the point where if I own a horse in this race, I'm strategizing very differently. I'm putting together a strategy to see what's going to get me second, not a strategy that's going to try to make me challenge Tiz the Law. So he's so good that I think other horses may be strategizing how to get to second and let him go. Worry about somebody else. See what you can do to get yourself into that second spot.
Yeah, and Sig, as we move along, the second horse in the point total is Authentic. My question for you, is he an authentic contender in this race?
Marco, I can't knock him. His only loss was to Honor AP in that San Antonio Derby. We remember that race. I don't love this horse. I mean, I like Nadeau. Baffert had some great horses earlier in the year. He still has some great horses now. Can he do well? Can he hit the tickets? Yes. I just don't love this horse.
Jeff, when you look at Authentic, his style is he wants to dictate the pace or be sitting second. Now, when you talked about strategizing and how you want to do things, this could set up for him because of his tactical speed, where if nobody wants to challenge, if he ties himself to the bumper of Tiz the Law and Tiz the Law gets soft fractions out of respect, this could carry him to that second place finish.
Yes, but I tell you, my one comment with him is the same comment I have for a lot of horses in this race, and that is post position draw is going to be critical. If there are 18 horses and he draws the 18, he's going to be hard pressed to get from that far outside. He's going to use himself up getting toward the front. So post draw is going to be very critical in this race for a lot of these horses. And he's one of those that's on my list of horses that, yes, he can be a factor, but it's going to depend on the post position. That was a good bounce back after he lost in the Santa Anita Derby. A good bounce back at Monmouth showed that, okay, that was just, one kind of a bad race. But the trend is he's getting faster with each start, as he should be. But again, post is going to be critical.
Yeah, that's the key. If you do look at his speed figures, even the race that he got beat, he improved his speed figure from the race before. And that's something we talk about all the time. Heading to the Derby, we want to have those horses that are still on that upward trajectory as far as reaching the ceiling. They haven't reached it yet. Throw out one other thing about the post positions. And Sig, we talk about this every year when we finally get the draw. The one, Jeff alluded to the outside, you don't want to be on the outside. You don't, but as bad as you don't want to be on the far outside, for most horses, you don't want to draw the rail. That's an even bigger kiss of death, especially if you're a speed horse, because you got to break clean. And then after you break clean, you got to break fast enough to get out to the position you want before the tidal wave comes down on you, because everybody from the outside is trying to get down to the rail and you can get buried alive at the rail.
Right. In normal years, I mean, with the auxiliary gate, that was true. If you were in the one post, when the horse came out of the gate, they were staring directly at the rail. With the new 20-horse gate that's debuting at this year's Derby, everything that I've read said that the way the gate sets up in the chute, the horse in the one won't be coming out staring at that rail. So it will be a little easier transition. It's still tough to break out of that one hole, have the rail, have 18, 20 horses on your outside, all vying for position, but it may be just a little bit easier this year to break from that one post.
The next horse on the list, and this is a horse that I really have been on the bandwagon, have cashed a couple tickets with him, Art Collector. And we've said it numerous times. If this was any other Derby, he wouldn't even be in this race because he wouldn't have been ready for the first Saturday of May. Because of the delay in this Derby being pushed back to September, this horse has been able to get himself into the Derby mix, not only coming into it, getting better in each and every start. He turned out being the number 3 point getter in here. And I think if he continues to improve, this is going to be a horse we're going to hear from next Saturday, but I don't know that he's closed the gap enough to get by Tiz the Law. Jeff, I'll start with you. What do you think?
I thought Art Collector got a little lazy in the turn at Ellis Park. Then he kind of woke back up. He cannot afford a lapse like that here. He's never rallied from farther back. So again, he's another one that needs to draw well.
Needs to draw well, and the tactical speed will have him either, again, just like we talked about with Authentic, right there on the lead or sitting just off of it. And I think a lot of these guys are going to give way to Tiz the Law and, try to tie themselves to the bumper of Tiz the Law. Sig, I'll go to you with the next one. Honor AP. This is a horse that after the Santa Anita Derby, man, we said this could be, the horse that's, continuing to improve. But I thought his last race took a step back.
Well, he did, Marco, but you go back and watch that race. He had a little trouble getting out of the gate and never fully recovered. I think this is a horse, if any horse in this race has a chance to really give Tiz the Law a run and get the upset, I think it's Honor AP. He's been working fantastic. Mike Smith has been working him at Del Mar. There were some issues with that because the jockeys weren't allowed on the track for the morning workouts. So what they started doing is right before the cards at Del Mar the past couple weekends, Smith would take Honor AP out on the track and actually work him right before the card started for that day. So he's been working really well. I think he rebounds off of that shared belief, and I think he's definitely a contender in here. More than likely right now, that might be where my money's going.
Jeff, you look at that race, and on paper, it looked disappointing, as I said. But because he had enough points to get in the Derby, could it have been a case where, and again, the shared belief was a nice race, it was a good purse, but did you want to empty the tank in that race when you had this one on the horizon? I know it's tough. You never pass up money, but I've been an owner, when you've got a big race, something that you want, badly, and let's face it, the Kentucky Derby is the biggest race there is. I might say, hey, get what you can get, but don't leave him empty. I want to have a horse that's fresh for the Derby.
Yes, but at the same time, couldn't they have found him some allowance race somewhere that would have been a little bit easier? He went the race of his life in the Santa Anita Derby, and to me, then he bounced in a smaller stake. I don't have a good feeling with him off that last line. I really don't.
Sig, I'll go to you on the next one because I know this is a horse that you've been on a few times. NY Traffic, how do you see him in the Derby? I know he's, raced, all the big races. Can he get the job done here, or is he a guy that you're going to be looking at hard in the second half of your exactas?
He's one of the horses that has definitely benefited from having the Derby much later in the year this year. He's been steadily improving all summer. They love the way he's been working, and that run to Haskell was pretty impressive, I thought. He just missed Nail and Authentic at the line there, and if he improves at all off of that, he can definitely be a factor in here.
Jeff, NY Traffic is another horse that has that tactical gate speed, can cut them out, can sit right off the pace. The thing is here, and we talk about this in harness racing so much, everybody wants the front end. You can't have it, right. Okay? And Tiz the Law knows that all these horses are going to want to be in position with him. Does he break out of the gate to get position and then let everybody settle where they're going to be? And then, in harness racing, one of the most popular moves, if you got the best horse, is do the retake at the quarter. Does he let all these front runners just sit there and him take the stalking position? Or do you think he's going to go ahead and go to the front?
I think he's going to try a new tactic. I think he's going to sit mid-pack and see what he can get. Again, no stake wins. He comes off a strong mile in the Haskell, but he's another one that, again, seems to need to be up front early. Post is going to be critical. If he draws a good spot, yes, go out there and challenge early. But if he doesn't, I think try to get away kind of in that second tier, that second group, and see what you can get late.
All right. The horse the training, we've talked about it the last several weeks. King Galermo. This is a horse that he's been off too long. He's been impressive in what he's done, but I wish he would have had one more prep race. This is just too long, I think, for a race this tough to come in just off of morning works. Jeff, I'll start with you.
I just have noted, bullet work on August 15th, but the long layoff. Let me see one more workout before I give you any consideration. I think he could be okay, but let me see another workout.
Sig, we've talked about it over and over again. You can simulate all you want. It's not the race fractions. What do you think here with the King?
I'm not going to completely argue with the strategy. I mean, I understand what both of you guys are saying, that having that race experience, there's no replacement for that. But they did this with the Tampa Bay Derby. He was off since the end of November, came back basically 3-4 months later and blew them away in that Tampa Bay Derby. Nobody expected it. 50-1, came back, basically lost to Nadal, who we all agree I think was a very good horse for Baffert before the injury. I don't know what to expect or what to see. The workouts so far at Churchill have looked pretty good with him, but he could be anything.
Moving along, let's look at 1,000 Words. 1,000 Words is the horse that did win that Shared Belief. I just don't think it was that tough of a race. I know Honor AP was in there, but again, I don't think they were racing the horse full throttle in that race. And if you remember, Bob Baffert had 2 horses in that race. He scratched the other one. I think Uncle Chuck was supposed to be in that race, and he saved Uncle Chuck to come back east. It was a win. He looked good. He beat the card that was there, but I wasn't that impressed with the horses he beat. I'll go with you, Sig, first.
All right. Yeah, again, 1,000 Words, I think, is a good horse. I don't think we're getting to the point where we're getting into some of the horses that I think are pretenders in here. I think there's one more horse that I'm actually considering using, but I don't think he's capable of being this field. I think he's a good horse. I think he'll win some more races in his career, but I don't see the Kentucky Derby being one of them.
Jeff, any thoughts on him?
I think if Bob Baffert's other horses hadn't had some other issues with injuries, he wouldn't be here. I think he's if this was a grade 2, grade 3, consider him, but not at this level.
All right, the next horse in the point standings is Dr. Post. Sig, you've alluded to they're going to bypass the Derby. Where are they going?
They're going to go to the Jim Dandy on Derby Day. Todd Pletcher came out this week and said that they weren't running the Derby. They are running the Jim Dandy same day. So I think they just gives a better shot against that field.
All right, and probably a very smart move. A horse that we've talked about a few times on here, Max Player. The barn change with this one, Max Player, a horse that's after back-to-back wins, stepped up in class, ran a couple grade 1s, finished thirds, respectable thirds, but well beaten by Tiz the Law in both of those races. Jeff, can Max Player close the gap, or is this horse what he is? Where he is now is what he is, and he's probably just a notch below.
I think he's going to be a contender here. I really do. The barn change is the key. As I said last week, the reason for changing barns most likely with this one is because the owners feel he has more. He showed a high turn of speed. He shows a high turn of speed, and it's just a matter of sustaining that speed, carrying it a little further. Now, he did a moderate workout on August 17th. I think that was just a test run. I'm waiting for another workout. I'm hoping to see another workout. I think he's going to be a contender here. I really do, because again, you've got a race that there's a lot of early speed. If all of those horses just blast out of there, somebody's going to pick them all up. Maybe they're not going to get to Tiz the Law, but here's a horse that I think could be second.
Sig, your thoughts on Max Player?
I agree with Jeff. We talked about it last week on the show. The barn change is going to be huge. Steve Asmussen takes over training just a few weeks before the Derby here, puts his go-to rider, Ricardo Santana, who's extremely aggressive on him. If somebody's going to blow this race up and come out of nowhere, it's Max Player. I think we're in this list of horses that we're talking about, he's the last one, I think, that actually is a contender that I'm going to have on my tickets.
All right. The next horse, point-wise, was Cara Caro. Unfortunately, Sig, you had some bad news to report this morning.
Yeah, Cara Caro worked this morning at Churchill Downs, and after the workout, they found some ligament damage. He is out of the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, Jeff, we've all been there as horse owners. There's nothing, you never want to see a horse get injured, and it's just a double punch in the gut whenever it's right before a big race, especially one is, the Kentucky Derby, the biggest race of all. We've all been there. It's not fun as a horse owner. Now, the next horse, point standings, Pneumatic. This is a horse that's okay and sound, but they're going to elect not to go to the Derby, which, Sig, you're guessing probably going to resurface in the Preakness?
I would think so. He won the Pegasus here just 2 weeks ago at Monmouth. They got him enough points to get him in the gate here. They said the connection said they're skipping the Derby. No future plans were announced, but I would think the Preakness would be the most likely next opportunity for him.
And Jeff, if you look at this particular horse, if he does go to the Preakness, he'll be fresh. You know, it would be the perfect timing for him from his last race, because the Pegasus was a little bit too close to the Derby for an actual prep race there. But he's a horse that is improving. So we got to look at him, you know, as we like to say when we get to the Preakness, as one of the new shooters that bypassed the, you know, the Kentucky Derby. Moving on with the list here, we've got Enforceable. Sig, anything you could say good here with this one?
Pretender.
Yeah, that's my feelings. Jeff, if the owners decide to go to the Derby with this one, I think it's just to see your name in the program and hear your horse's name that first Saturday in September this year.
Well, but you also look at, he's had 4 straight bad posts. He's never been closer than 10th off the break. To me, he's had some excuses. He may not be the caliber of some of the others, but I don't think he's had a fair shot yet either.
Well, you know what, Jeff? If we get an 18 to 20 horse field, he's got 50% chance of having another bad post, and there's going to be a lot more traffic. So if he breaks bad, he's done. The next one, point-wise, is Swiss Skydiver, but this is the filly. We've talked about her many times. Sig, the right decision has been made. They're going to the Kentucky Oaks.
Yeah, they raised some eyebrows yesterday. She had saddle cloths for both the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. Kenny McPeak sent her out there yesterday with the Kentucky Derby saddle cloth, generating some buzz on Twitter and so forth. But following that, they did interview him, and he said that they were basically just trying to get a rise out of the fans and get out of the crowds. And she is going to the Oaks. Will battle Gamine and Speech in there. It should be one hell of a race.
Yeah, Jeff, no sense talking. We know how good she is, and we'll be looking at her on the Friday card for the Kentucky Oaks, while you're calling races at the Meadows Friday afternoon next week. The next horse, Rushy, this is a horse that's got points to get into the Derby, but the connections, Sig, haven't decided yet what they're doing.
Right. Rushy has the points. If they did decide to go to the Derby starting gate, the connections would have to pay the supplemental fee to get them into the gate. I don't have that kind of money. I'm not sure you guys have that kind of money, but if you own a horse, you might have that kind of money just to put your horse in there, but I don't think he has a shot. So save the money.
Yeah, well, I own horses and I don't have that kind of money, but even, if I did, the horse would have to be superior for me to pay the supplemental fee, because you're paying a big tax to get in there if you didn't make the prior payments. So, Jeff, any thoughts on Rushy?
Well, if I'm looking at the stuff right, he went back to California after the Bluegrass. He's been working well, but boy, that travel is going to take a lot out. And to me, if they sent this horse back to California, they're not coming back.
I agree with you. The next horse, this is one I'm a little interested in. I had a few bets on this horse a couple different times this year. And if there's a horse that has a knack to getting into trouble in road problems, it is Major Fed. And last time came from the clouds, finished second in a good race, the Indiana Derby. Not the caliber of horses that you would have seen at some of the other prep races, but still was a good race. I like this horse. I was very high on the horse in the Risen Star. Then I come back and like the horse in the Matt Win, and just had absolutely a horrendous ride in that race. This is a horse that's going to come from out of the clouds. If we get some kind of a, honest pace in here, and horses that are chasing tis the law, sometimes, Jeff, when a horse is a super horse, they just keep going. Okay. And each, fraction, each quarter, each furlong, the horse keeps picking up speed and sometimes can bottom out the field. And if all those horses that are trying to get that trip sitting second or third get the life sucked out of them, somebody from off the pace could pick up the pieces late And this is a horse that I think has that shot if we get some kind of fast pace. Your thoughts?
Well, again, I'm looking for something similar to happen, but I'm looking for Max Player to be the one that picks up the pieces, not this one. If you're struggling to get a win in a grade 3, you're going to really struggle against this level.
SIG?
Just stole my line. Major Fed is Max Player Jr., and he's not on my tickets.
All right. How about the next one, Storm the Court? Here's the horse that, again, the old 2-year-old jinx, win the Breeders' Cup as a 2-year-old and then have nowhere near the same season the following year. Obviously got enough points because he's chased in enough races to accumulate the points to be in the Derby. This is a horse that I don't think belongs in the Derby. SIG?
I agree with you completely, Marco. Storm the Court. While he won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, hasn't done anything since to win, hasn't won a race since then, and they're just going to go.
Jeff?
Second on turf last time. Maybe stay there.
Okay. Attachment Rate. This is a horse that my good old buddy Dale Romans ran over my beautiful Exacta I had with Art Collector and Nectar Island. Nectar Island went off a big price in that race and was looming large at the top of the stretch. I thought I had my cold punch Exacta, and then here comes attachment rate, to run over my Exacta. SIG, is this horse going to run over any Exactas next Saturday?
This horse has one career win. That was Breaking Maiden. It's going to the Derby to go to the Derby and say it ran the Derby. That's all I got to say about this horse.
Jeff?
I stepped up last time, has closing ability. Again, not quite the Max Player type, but there's always that one long shot that comes from the clouds and screws up everybody's tickets. This could be the one this year.
All right, going to the next horse, Soleil Volante. After 2 starts ago, the big win, swooping the field, a lot of buzz, and then the next race, no buzz. Bad race, no excuses. SIG, what do you say?
All I know is this morning he went 5 furlongs in 57 and 8. I don't think he's going to be a factor, but it definitely was a hell of a workout.
Jeff?
I just don't see him being a contender. Just don't. Not off that last line.
Yeah, I definitely he threw. I mean, he never. We have the phrase when a horse races bad, never picked his feet up. You look at that race line, the last start, he never picked his feet up. Finnick the Fierce, next horse. This is a horse that accumulated points just by, dancing all the dances. He's not been a big factor. You go back and, look at him. The Arkansas Derby, he finished 3rd, beaten 4.5 lengths. But then, the next race finishes 3rd in a lesser stake race. Gets beat by, 7 1/4 lengths to Art Collector, which I'm high on, and then come back in the last one and just was no factor at all. Finnick the Fierce, anybody got any love for him?
I do not, Marco. And you know what? We're a half hour into the show, and we got a lot to cover. So unless, Jeff, you think anybody else in here has a shot, I think we move on to the race of the day.
I just said one other horse that I thought might be worth a look is Jesus' Team. If he decides to enter, speed numbers are getting better. I might use him underneath if he enters and draws a good post.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be waiting to see the post draw next week. Race of the day, guys, and that is the Forego Stakes at Saratoga. It is race 8 on Saturday. Guys, let's jump into this race, and it's the first leg of the pick 4. So we'll be using this race, obviously, for our free pick 4 this week. Start with number 1, guys, and we'll run through the field quickly, but just 1 or 2 thoughts if you have anything on the horse. And if you don't like the horse, just give me a pitch and we'll move on. SIG, number 1, Everlast, 30-1.
This is the preferred distance. He's 2 for 2 at 7 furlongs, but he's over his head here. He's a toss.
Jeff?
I think you use him underneath on the ticket, but I don't think he's one of the ones you use on top in a pick 4.
he is a pitch for me. He is overmatched in this one, up in class. The next horse, number 2, Whitmore. This is a major player in this race. The one thing that stands out to me is you look at the majority of his races, he likes 6 furlongs. Going to go a little added distance this week with this race, the 7 furlongs, but it is the second start off a layoff, and that first start off the layoff was pretty darn good. Solid, fast closing second. How do you see this one, Sig?
He won this race in 2018, but what I found most interesting is that Rosario isn't taking the mount. Rosario actually took a mount on the horse we're talking about in a few minutes. Saez is hopping on. He's not as familiar with the horse, but I think Whitmore still is a contender in here. I'm using him.
Jeff?
I'm using him too. I would use him with a lot more confidence if he was as good at 7 furlongs as he is at 6.
Yeah, that's my only concern is the added distance there. But because of his back class and because of a solid first outing, I got to use him on a ticket. I'm not going to have him run my ticket over. The next horse, number 3, Lexatonian. This is a horse 10-1. I don't think this horse is going to go off 10-1. I'll start with you, Jeff.
Yeah, he's my second pick in here. I mean, he ships here for a reason. His workouts are a little bit interesting. I mean, he was at Del Mar, then he went to Keeneland, then he went to Saratoga, then he went back to Keeneland. So he's kind of bouncing around a little bit, but he's here for a reason.
Absolutely. And if you look at that race, his last race at Del Mar in the Bing Crosby, this horse came from the clouds and was absolutely flying at the end. Looking at the race, you would have thought you were watching the way he was closing a turf race instead of a dirt race. This is a horse that I think is a major player in here. And if we get honest fractions, he could be picking up the pieces late. Sig?
Agree completely. I think he's very dangerous in here. I don't think they shipped him across country to Del Mar to just miss the Bing Crosby. I think they think he has a big race in him, and I think he has a shot here at a nice price.
And moving to the next horse, I'll start with you, Sig, because you teased on it, and this is a big factor. I know Jeff and I always talk about the jockeys, is it an upgrade or, a downgrade with the jockeys when you make switches? More importantly, when a jockey has the ability to pick multiple horses and he chooses a horse, that's a big handicapping factor because these guys make their money based on what the horse earns. So they want the best horse who they think has the best chance of winning if they have a choice to ride, because that's going to make them the money. And as you said, Sig, Rosario shows up on the 4. How do you see it?
Mark, this horse is funny guy. Why is he funny? Is he a clown? Is he
I say that about you two all the time when you guys are busting my stones when I forget to hit the go live button and things of that nature. But, good name for a horse.
Sorry, I had to throw the Goodfellas reference in there.
Yeah.
I love
Just
that
remember
Rosario
what
stays-
happened to the funny guy in Goodfellas, too.
I do.
And there's only one Italian on this show, okay? All right.
I love that Rosario stays on here. He's coming in here off of back-to-back wins in state-bred stakes at both Belmont and Saratoga. So he is stepping up here in the open company, but he is 2 for 2 at Saratoga. And with Rosario in the irons and choosing to ride him over Whitmore, I think Funny Guy has a huge shot in here.
And Jeff, the big thing when you're looking at a driver change, and we see this in harness racing a lot, and in the same in thoroughbreds, not all the time will a jockey make his decision based on the best horse. Sometimes it might be close, but he'll go to the big barn that provides him with multiple mounts. That's not the case here. Okay. He's not, picking this horse over the other horse because it's a major player. It's not a Todd Pletcher or a Chad Brown. And to me, that is something you have to look at a little more.
And this is where I may have missed the boat. By the way, I'm half Italian, and I did not use.
You're
this
half
horse.
all right. Then.
Okay, thank you. I didn't use him. Looking at the horse, I think he's a little overmatched here. But yeah, the rider situation gives me some concern that I may have screwed up. I went 5 deep in my pick 4, and maybe I should have gone 6 because this one could bite me.
Yeah, I think you got to respect the jockey choice in this particular one. Going to the 5-horse, True Timber. I'll start with you, Jeff. Do you give this horse a shot?
I do not.
Of my sentiments exactly. Sig?
I agree with you guys. But one quick note: they are planning on rain tomorrow morning and all throughout tomorrow's card here. If the track does get muddy and sloppy, this horse is 3 for 4 in the slop. Something to consider. And guys, make sure you check Twitter tomorrow because we'll probably have a ton of scratches. These pick fours might get changed around a little bit. I'll have updates for you once we know what's going on.
In that 3 of 4, let me just allude, it's 3 of 4 hitting the board, 1 win on the slop. So we don't want to say he's a mutter and his mother was a mutter and, and everything else. Go to number 6 here, Complexity. This is a horse second off the layoff. Chad Brown, first start off a long layoff. This horse hadn't raced since December of last year. But Chad Brown, is there anybody better at bringing a horse to the races and ready for that first one out of the gate? Sig, you've been following Saratoga all summer long. He's done it numerous times. We would expect this to be even better of a start, being the second one off the layoff. How do you see Complexity?
Chad Brown is good at bringing horses back off long layoffs. Though this summer he's lost a little bit of that Chad Brown magic. Hasn't been winning as regularly at Saratoga as he has in the past. I do like Complexity here. 4 wins and 7 career starts, and Jose Ortiz, who rides tomorrow, was in the irons for all of them. He's definitely a contender. He'll be on my pick 4 ticket.
Jeff, how do you see Complexity?
In the interest of saving time, I agree. Yeah, I'm using him on the ticket.
We are unanimous on that one. And the next horse, number 7, Win. This was a horse that not too long ago, last year, was a Derby horse. Didn't fare well, but was on that campaign. Really has not been the same horse. Yes, he's got a second in his last start, but we're talking about, you were looking at a horse that was racing on grade 1s and grade 2s on the Derby trail last year. That's not been the case this year. Is he overmatched here, Sig?
Yes, he is. This horse will not win this race. Last dirt win, January 2019. He's not fast enough to compete here.
Jeff?
Yeah, he couldn't win in an allowance. He's not going to win here.
I agree completely. Another horse that has that back class and was, a horse that was on the Derby trail, number 8, Firenze Fire. And I know this was a horse you liked at times last year, Sig. I remember you talking about this horse a few times. How do you see him in this race?
To put it nicely, Marco, this horse benefited tremendously from being in the Jason Service barn. Since he moved to the Breen barn, it's no knock against Breen. It's more of the extra feed that he was getting from the service barn. I like Firenze Fire. Can he win this race tomorrow? Yes. Am I using him? No.
Jeff?
This was the last one I put onto my ticket for my pick 4. The trainers winning 23% in the last month. And I like Whitmore. I like Mind Control. This horse was right there with both of them last week or last start. So if you like those two, I think you've got to throw this one into your numbers too.
Yeah, I had to draw the line somewhere. And when you get to my ticket, you will see that this was the horse I left off. Moving on, number 9, Majestic Dunhill. I'll be simple. This is a pitch for me. Jeff?
Pitch.
Third down.
All right. We can move through that one. The other horse that I had trouble with, actually, the 8 and the 10 were where I was at with who got cut off, because I only went 4 deep in the first leg, and I think this is the most competitive race of the card. But Mind Control, third off the layoff. This should be this horse's best outing. I like the form cycle third off the layoff. Got Velasquez on for this one. How do you see this one? Jeff, I'll start with you.
Again, bounce back with a good mile in the Vanderbilt. I like that. And this one is on my ticket. This was my 4th choice. And again, I liked Whitmore. And this horse was right there with Whitmore last week.
Yeah, and Sig, you look, this horse came off, the layoff, the first start, didn't race good at all, beat 17 lengths, finishing 6th, but then jumps up in the second start and runs a good race, and everything would say and point to should be better this week. What do you see with Mind Control?
I agree with you guys. I like the third start off a layoff angle. He likes Saratoga. Hit the board on all 3 starts there, including 2 wins. And he likes his distance. 4 wins out of 7 races at 7 furlongs. I'm using him on my tickets.
Last one on the race is number 11, Fortin Hill, another Chad Brown horse. This is a major step up in class. The horse is definitely a now horse. He's going in the right direction. He's getting better with each start. It is the 3rd start off the form cycle, but can he make the big class jump? Jeff, how do you see the 11 horse?
He's got 1 shot, and that's if it's muddy. And it might be. So again, I'm kind of expecting, as Sig said, there's going to be some rain coming through. If there are some horses scratched, he's going to start to work his way up into my ticket.
Sig?
Actually, this is a very intriguing horse for me. 4 years old, made 1 start as a 2-year-old, 1 start as a 3-year-old, and now he's making his 3rd start as a 4-year-old. He's won 3 of those 4 and finished 2nd in the only one, and he had a rough start in that race. Like I said, Chad Brown's cooled off here at Saratoga. But I find this colt intriguing, and I'm using them.
Yeah, what you're alluding to, normally when we talk about a horse that has a small number of starts, but yet the connections haven't given up on them. Well, first thing I look at whenever you're looking at that angle is the horse a mare. Because if it's a mare, they could just send the horse to the broodmare barn. Obviously has good breeding, because the horse was a $575,000 yearling purchase. Okay. Now that answers the next question. The horse is a colt. He's not stallion material. So what do? Do you have a $575,000 lunch and call it a day and eat your losses? Or do you keep the horse around trying to get him to the races? Obviously the horse has talent, but he also obviously has some problems that has kept him from racing. He looks good now and is improving, but is it enough to make this jump? And Chad Brown's not a dummy. I mean, he's not going to put a horse in that's got no shot. So this is an intriguing horse and could blow up a ticket, but I had to narrow it down somewhere. Jeff, your thoughts?
Yeah, as I said, I just think if it's muddy, he's got a shot, and so again, he's going to elevate himself into my numbers if there's a scratch or 2.
All right, let's go ahead and segue right into the first leg of the pick 4, because this is it. We get it started. It's a good race, very competitive, and I like to have those competitive races right out of the gate, because if you are still live late and you get a couple, in a competitive race, we could get the second favorite win and be looking at an $11 or $12 horse. And that's definitely going to help a pick 4 on a big day like is going to be Saturday at Saratoga. Sig, how are you going in the first leg? Just give me your numbers, because we've already discussed all the horses.
I went 5 deep in that first leg, 4, 2, 6, 3, and 10. I did say I was using the 11. I am not using the 11 on the ticket I gave to you guys so far. But like as Jeff said, the weather comes in, we get some scratches. That 11 will jump on to my ticket.
Jeff, your first leg?
2, 3, 6, 10, and 8. But if we get rain, 6 is coming out. 4 and the 11 may go on.
Yeah, for me, I went 4 deep, 2, 4, 3, 6. My next 2 horses was the 10 and then the 8, but I had to draw the line somewhere. And I really did have 5 in the first leg like you did, Jeff. And the 10 was the 5th horse, but to price down my ticket, I took the 10 off. Moving to the 9th race, guys, I'm going to ask you for your number and just something on your top horse. We won't go through all of the horses. Sig, what is your second leg race 9 at Saratoga?
I'm 5 deep here again. I went 2, 8, 6, 5, 4. I think these 2 stakes races are fantastic races. I'm hoping we get decent weather, because I hope both these races stay where they're supposed to be and they get good conditions. My top horse was the 2, Aquaphobia. I read Ortiz is riding for Mike Maker. He's coming in here off a win in the United Nations at Monmouth last month. He's been a much better horse since the Maker Barn claimed him in January. He's running faster and hasn't finished worse than fourth since the barn took him over. I think it takes some good training to get a 7-year-old to run faster. So he's been running against quality fields in both graded and non-graded stakes. And I think he's got a nice shot here. He's 4-1. I like that.
Jeff, how are you going in race 9?
I'm going 7-8. Now, this 7, Pedro Cara, is 10-1 on the morning line. Here's a horse coming in from overseas, getting Lasix. They've been, to me, they've been hiding this horse. They've been keeping this horse at a training center for workouts, have not brought this horse over to the big track. I think they want to surprise everybody and jump up big with this horse. Again, this horse has raced in some huge stakes in the career. I like the 7 in here quite a bit.
Yeah, I just wish I looked at the horse, and that would have been my next horse in here. I trimmed my ticket down. I only went 3 deep in here. I went 8-2-6 for price control. My 4th horse would have been the 7 horse, and why I went ahead and cut him off, Jeff, is I would have rather seen him have 1 race here in the United States first. But my top choice is the 8 horse, and how can you go wrong with Sadler's Joy? This horse shows up every single race. He's going to be flying late. He won his last race, but got disqualified in that race. The 7-year-old was just absolutely flying. They got into tight quarters, and he was taken down. He doesn't know he didn't win the race, other than he get his picture taken. I look for him to get the job done. But my other 2 horses in here are the 2 and the 6. Guys, moving
that up.
Huh? Yeah, I know. That was
cost me
not
to
a
pick
fun
4
day.
and pick 5 that day.
Yeah, I know. It's like, sorry, bud. It happens to all of us. Race 10. Jeff, how deep are you going here?
3 horses deep here, 7-5-2. Underneath the 5 and the 2, both of them from the 20% trainer, Brown. But this O'Gotten girl just caught my eye. Here's a horse 4-1 on the morning line. Raced very well, I thought, in the career debut, and that was on the turf. So I thought the horse looked good on turf. They're moving this one to dirt. Again, I think it's for a reason. They think the horse is going to be a little better yet, trying the dirt. And if we get some mud, yeah, I think O'Gotten girl is going to be very good tomorrow.
Yeah, I did look at that horse, Jeff, but again, I had to cut my ticket down. I went 5-2 in this race. I like the Chad Brown horse. I like the way the horse is training. You look at this one. This is a morning works play for me, and you pick up the top jockey at Saratoga. That is all I need to see, and that's why the 5 is on top for me. Sig, where are you at?
Already 5 deep in both of the first 2 legs. I normally wouldn't just go with 2 horses here in a 2-year-old filly race with some unraced and all lightly raced, but I went with the 2 Chad Browns as well. I went with the 5 Zana Larov, I believe it is, with Irad for Chad, and the 2 Ollie's Karina for Jose for Chad. Both working really well. Both have fantastic gate drills just last weekend. 47-1, and a gate drill for a 2-year-old that hasn't raced yet like that tells me these horses are ready to go. I'm going with the Chad Browns, and if I die, I die.
Yeah. Hey, if you're going to die on a hill, if you're going to go with the combination of 2 Chad Brown horses and the Ortiz brothers, that's not a bad way to go. And the last race, I think this is a competitive race. You're singling in here, Mr. Sig. So I'm going to let you have the spotlight first. Anybody that can single, I'm going to let them speak first.
Well, I got to preface this. I singled because I wanted to keep the ticket at a reasonable amount. I'll admit, I'm super deep in those first legs. I'm hoping for some prices to hit for this ticket to blow up. I had the single here. I went with the 3 Eloquent Speaker. Luis Saez is hopping aboard for Jeremiah Englehart. Only making his 4th career start. Only making her 3rd career start. His hit aboard at all 3 starts. They tried her longer last out. She basically took them the whole way around till the 8th pole and basically just tired out. They're shortening her back up here. She broke her maiden 6 furlongs at Belmont back in June. If she repeats the effort she had in June, she wins here. I think she wins this. If you do want to cover yourself and go a 2nd horse deep, I would say use the 7, the Pletcher. Just broke maiden last time out. Could improve in 2nd start, but I'm not a huge fan of using horses going from their first maiden win into racing winners.
Jeff, how are you going in this one?
I'm going to take just that one. Well, actually, I've got two. I've got the 7 and the 5, but I do like Midnight Surprise despite the move up in class. In harness racing, I say the same thing. Very tough for a horse to win non-winners of 1 and then come back the very next start and win non-winners of 2. So it doesn't happen all that often, but I think this one could get it done. Again, Pletcher knows what he's doing. And then for second, the 5 for Ren's Freedom drops from a stake and comes off a good workout at Monmouth.
Yeah, I went 4 deep in this race. The horses that we're talking about, the logical horses, obviously, I'm with you, Sig, with the 3. I'm with you, Jeff. I have the 7. I have the 6. The 6 intrigues me. This is a horse that is the most experienced horse in the field, raced last year, not well at all. Come back this year. First 2 starts have been very impressive. This will be the 3rd start off the layoff. Love that angle. So that's why we got the 6 in there. And then I'm throwing a bomber in to try to maybe blow up my ticket. And this is a horse that 1 start and the horse was claimed. And you know I love looking at horses off a claim. And this is a horse at 12-1. First start, had a bad post, came from the clouds, was sitting 8th, beaten by 10 lengths at one point in the race, came flying to finish 3rd, was beaten 5 lengths, but the horse that win was, head and shoulders above the field. I think this horse has a license to improve. And Jeff, I know in harness racing, we look at it a lot, and it's the same thing in thoroughbreds. When a trainer claims a horse, they feel that there's either a spot that they can make a quick score with, or they can improve the horse long-term. Either way, I got to put that horse in here. And that's why I went 4 deep in my last leg. So for me, it's 3, 7, 6, 12 in the last leg. And we'll get everybody's tickets up. Sig, we've got your ticket coming up here for your pick 4. And you're going 4, 2, 6, 3, 10 in the first leg. Race 9, you're going 2, 8, 6, 5, 4. In the third leg, race 10, 5, 2. And then your single in the last race is number 3, and that is a $25 ticket. Very easy, affordable ticket for you. Jeff, your pick 4, 2, 3, 6, 10, 8 in race 8. Coming back 7, 8 in race 9. 7, 5, 2 in race 10, third leg. And then in the final leg, race 11, 7, 5. Your ticket costs $30. And finally, rolling my pick 4 up there. I'm spending a little bit more than you guys. You guys will have money left to grab a pizza after the races. I'm putting mine in the late pick 4. I'm going 2, 4, 3, 6 in the first leg. Race 9, 8, 2, 6. Race 10, 5, 2. And in that final leg, race 11, 3, 7, 6, 12. And my ticket cost is $48. So I come in on the high side. But guys, I think this is a very competitive sequence here. To me, there is no stone cold lock in any of the 4 races. I know you got a single there, Sig, and we all, kind of agreed with you with the 3 horse, but I just don't think that there's a standout. And if we don't get that one big standout, I think you're going to have a nice payout for the pick 4 on Saturday at Saratoga. Any final thoughts, guys, as we wrap up today's show? I know Jeff usually likes to, bust my, and we appreciate you being on. What's happening at the Meadows? Jeff, anything you want to promote, and tell everybody about your value plays?
Yeah, we've got our final Saturday card of the year. Again, as you said, we're not going to be on the show from now on for a while because we're going to switch to Fridays for the winter, but good Saturday card, got some stakes. Hey, if you're playing Saratoga, you've got plenty of time between races. Take a look at some of our Meadows races. We've got some competitive races. I'll be posting some value plays on my Twitter feed tomorrow morning, as I do every race card. Horses that I think might be in the 10-1, 20-1 range that I think can hit the ticket underneath. Had one good one a couple of days ago, a 13-1 shot, ran second, added a ton of value. And as you know, If you give out three of those every day, if you hit one every couple of days that gets onto the ticket at a 13-to-1 price, you can make some money. So that's my target with that.
Absolutely. I follow Jeff every race day at the Meadows. I get to follow him personally, though. I don't have to go to the Twitter account. SIG, you've got your daily package up every day, $9. You're covering Saratoga. The meet's going to be wrapping up. Where are you going to be heading after Saratoga?
Well, Kentucky Derby and the Oaks next weekend. And then I think we're going to take a shot at the Kentucky Downs as a real short meet here right after the Kentucky Derby. All turf racing, big fields, big payouts. After that, we'll hit Belmont up for a few weeks, and then Keeneland kicks off the fall meet for October, leading right into the Breeders' Cup.
I know where you're heading next week. You'll be here in Las Vegas. And Jeff, expect lots of texts from SIG and I of all the places we'll be eating at that you like to eat when you're out here. And, you know, we'll just tell you having fun without you, bud.
You can expect some graphics coming back your way. Don't worry.
Yeah,
those little emojis, those real happy ones. Yeah.
I know what emojis are coming my way. You do it to me all the time. And, of course, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at Marco in Vegas. And if you want to pick up my Saturday card, I'll have package up, an all-access package tomorrow. We'll have sports picks up, both baseball, basketball resumes tomorrow. And maybe I'll have a best bet or two from some tracks as far as horse racing goes. And, of course, next week, Kentucky Derby, we'll have our package up and hope to get lightning in a bottle like we did a couple of years ago when, for our clients, we did invest $390 that day on the Derby, but we brought back over $9,000 score following my plays. So we will be looking for that once again. And we've had some good Derby scores over the years. That one a couple of years ago, and of course, Animal Kingdom several years back. I think it's been like 10 years now, Animal Kingdom. It's boy, time flies, but man, you remember those monsters that you get. Guys, I want to thank Jeff. We appreciate you once again. And when your schedule permits, you've got an open invitation to be on the show. And we got to figure out how to get the little live, little cameo from you at the Meadows sometime in the booth. We'll have to work on that. And SIG, I'll see you when you get to town next week, and be picking you up at the airport, bud. Unless I get any more of those ball busting texts, then I might, tell you, grab a cab. All right, till next week, guys. This has been the Pony Pundits, a Wager Talk production. Be sure to check out all the daily shows at Wager Talk. And we started a new show that I am going to highly recommend. Not a new show. We just brought it back for season 2 this week. Check out Bet on It. It'll be every Wednesday live at 8:30 Eastern time. Be sure to check it out. You can go back and check this week's show out. It is on our YouTube channel. Watch the replay. Until next week, guys, may all of your tickets be live heading into that last leg of the Pick 4. Let's cash some tickets. This has been the Pony Pundits for Friday, August 29th. See you guys next week.